I always write down this every year. I write kind of goals, and my goal every year for the last 5 years I've put on my mirror, 2019 goal number 1, no cancer. My name is Kirk Smith, and I am 56 years old, and I am the owner and president of the AdSmith marketing firm. I went to school, ultimately decided to be a graphic designer. My father had already started this business, and so I started working with him while I was in school, and then began working full-time when I got out of school. My father passed away from cancer in 2004, and so that was pretty sudden, pretty quick, and so I was kind of thrown into running the show. It's worked out well, and he had taught me a lot of good things, and so we've been in business almost 35 years. I'm pretty proud of that. I was always a super hyper, active, still am, certainly for somebody that's 56. But what I really found later in life was one of the things I was just always active. And then somewhere in there I got into running a little bit, like 10Ks, and that was really just because friends were doing it. From there I ended up doing all the distances, did 3 Ironmans and bunch of half Ironmans, bunch of marathons, raced Boston 3 times. And I loved getting out on the bike. It's beautiful. I love riding out in the country here. It's the beauty of the woods and the beauty of nature. I have a real belief that you can get a lot of energy from nature and from just being out and paying attention. Don't put on the headphones, don't put on anything. I mean, don't even put on a watch. Just go. So I get a lot of peace from that. And in some ways I can sound like I don't have a lot of peace otherwise. I mean, I'm a very lucky person, cancer aside, and even with cancer, I'm very lucky to have the life that I do and to live the life that I do. And cancer is, I've never had this why me or shaking my fist at God or anything when I got the cancer diagnosis, because I was kind of more of why not me? And I don't know if that's some of just the way I don't know if it's the way I was raised. I don't have anything necessarily to say, if it's just my DNA from mom and dad that had that. I've just always, and certainly it's developed over time, where I have more of a control what you can control sort of approach to life and don't get too freaked out over the other. If I had been diagnosed 2 years prior to when I was diagnosed, I'd be dead now. That's how fast the medication was improving. They didn't even know the genetic mutation I have, which is called ALK positive, was discovered. They didn't even know it existed until 2008. They didn't even know it existed. And I should not be alive. The statistics when I was diagnosed said I had a 2 to 5% chance, 2 to 5% chance to make it 5 years.
And it's been how long?
5 years and 4 months. My lung cancer is this incredibly persistent, devious, diabolical sumbitch. So it figures a way to get around and become resistant. So you're always, that's why I went for the MRI the other day, is I got to check and see if it's figured out a way. Is it now figured out a way in my brain to go, okay, yeah, we got them before, but now it's popping back up. And I worry about her. I mean, when you first get diagnosed, at least for me, I don't worry about myself, and I don't mean like I didn't worry about it at all, but it's, you worry about the people that love you and care for you. And so a lot of that was, with us, is making sure each of us were okay, and I want to make sure she was okay, and making sure that her friends were reaching out to her. But for us, it's worked out well, and we both appreciate the things we do, and we know how, I don't want to, nothing about this I want to see like, oh, well, cancer gave me this new, all of a sudden I'm smelling the roses and seeing the sunshine. I was always that way. Having cancer certainly made me appreciate a lot of things more, and understanding that I have that, but we're all terminal. And so ultimately it was, that was a great quote from a book I read from a guy that was dealing with cancer, had the same diagnosis I had. And he said, before I had cancer, I knew I was going to die, but I didn't know when. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I knew I was going to die, but I didn't know when. But now I'm more aware of it, more in your face. And so it wakes you up from that end. All of a sudden, every day, your life is just, electricity's running through your body because you know, you don't take any of it for granted.